Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing Meet Cute, now streaming on Peacock. So Meet Cute is a new romantic comedy and it stars Kaley, Cuoco and Pete Davidson as the two love interests in this film. And it is a little different than your conventional love story. It uses the Groundhog Day formula. We've seen this a lot in recent years. It's kind of weird that this is having like this resurgence. And I think some movies use it to a better degree than other films. This one is not so incredible. So in this one, Kaley Cuoco plays Sheila. And she is this woman who's really down on her luck. She's really struggling, and she discovers this time machine. The time machine is a tanning bed, and it allows her to go back and relive her experiences, try to fix her life, because she's at a really low moment. She doesn't really want to continue anymore. She kind of wants to give up on everything. So she's convinced to, give it one more shot, go back in time, and try to fix things. And one of the things that she does to do this is she meets Pete Davidson's character, Gary, in a bar, and it feels like it gives her this, this purpose, and she wants it to be perfect. So she keeps going back again and again and again to have this perfect date with Gary, and eventually things start to unravel as you expect in a lot of time travel films. Things don't work out perfectly. And the first thing that I have to say about this movie is I feel like the acting is pretty solid. It's not incredible. I feel like the two leads have some decent chemistry, particularly in the beginning of the film, and they kind of have this arc where they're really working out really well together. Then there's fighting, and there's like them trying to come together as people and understand one another. So I think it works in that facet, but I feel like the comedic timing for the most part isn't really there. Even though this is billed in a lot of ways as like a romantic comedy, I don't think it's really that laugh out loud funny. There are some funny moments in it. Obviously, we know that these two actors are really good comedic actors. We see them in plenty of other work where they've done a great job. This one is really melancholy. At its core, this movie is actually really sad. And the movie, in a way, is about someone trying to get past their grief in their life, trying to learn to accept who they are and grow as people, and kind of not force things, not try to change things and constantly manipulate things to be perfect, and kind of accept things for where they are. So that messaging, I think, works by the end of the film, but it takes a while to get there. The movie is just around an hour and a half, so it's not an incredibly long movie, but the nature of this kind of Groundhog Day style of going back constantly over and over and over again to the same events makes it feel a little bit longer. There's been some movies in the past that have worked really well using this formula, but I feel like this one really hits that redundancy wall because by its nature, the film is kind of repetitive and redundant to just go back into the same thing over and over again. But like this one, I think it just overdoes it a little bit. It overstays the welcome a little bit. But I think when it gets past that, towards like the third act of the film, I think it picks up a little bit. Also, surprisingly, kind of like the score of this movie. I know maybe this isn't something that a lot of people would take away from this movie, but it creates a really strong atmosphere. And I think one of the things that I like about the movie is something that others might be disappointed by, and that is the really like somber, like melancholy of the movie. And it's like I said, it's a kind of a sad tone to this film, and I think it works. I think for telling the story of this person that's struggling, but if you're going into it expecting kind of a laugh out loud comedy because of the people involved, I think people will be really disappointed. There are some twists and turns along the way. Obviously, with any movie that deals with time travel, there's going to be some like suspension of belief. You kind of got to get past some stuff because it's not perfect. Time travel is always kind of like weird rules you have to get around. In the movie, sometimes it's kind of weird why they're doing it, how it's happening. Then there's kind of this unreliable narrator going on with Sheila's character. So I think the story gets a little muddled when it gets into the messaging and going. Like I said, being a shorter movie, it does kind of surprisingly get kind of muddled up pretty quickly. But I do think the payoff at the end is pretty decent. The ending isn't the best ending in the world. It feels kind of abrupt for how much we've been repeating and doing the same thing over and over again. So, like I said, it's really a hit or miss for me. But if I were to rate this movie, I would give it a 5 out of 10. It's right down the middle. I think it's not a terrible movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I personally enjoyed it as far as its atmosphere and its themes, but I think the overall kind of structure of the film and the fact that it needed to get going a little bit faster, even though it is an hour and a half. The acting was solid, not incredible. The chemistry, like I said, solid, not incredible. So it's kind of like right there in the middle, so I give it a 5 out of 10. So if you checked out Meet Cute, let me know what you thought about it. Were you kind of disappointed in it being a little different than maybe what we expected from this film? Did you enjoy it a little bit more for having that different kind of somber tone? Leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.